Hello, welcome back to World on a String Designs. My name is Alicia. So today I am very excited because I have an update on the solo sock club that I have been running. I have finished the February socks and I get to reveal the March socks that I will be working on. So if you recall, the socks that I had done for February were the Jekyll and Hyde socks, and those were designed by the Sexy Knitter. And the yarn I used was Cascades Heritage Quattro. And if you recall from a previous video, I was questioning whether the combination was a wise one of the yarn and the pattern. So I do like the pattern and I'm enjoying it. I do really like the yarn and I'm enjoying that as well. But I was a little concerned that I felt like the pattern and the yarn had great features that when put together were kind of both of them were kind of getting lost. So here's the finished sock. And even before I put them on the mannequin foot, I was questioning them. But I'm pretty pleased with that. Just seeing them on the foot, they look pretty stunning, I think. I think that this is a type of pattern that you can work up in different yarns and have different results every time. So with a variegated yarn, you'd have a totally different experience. With a semi-solid, you would just really see this texture pop. And I feel like this does a good job with the texture, and I do still feel like it does sort of get lost. So the marling of the stockinette stitch on this looks like it's a little washed out. We'll see when I edit. It sort of has its own charm and just a stockinette, but I feel like it does do a really good job in this sock. I'm really pleased with this. I think this is lovely. That texture is just gorgeous, and you know I do have the other one. You know they're a matching pair, but very happy with the results on these. Glad I stuck with it and kept going. So those are the finished February socks. Yay! And the exciting part now is I get to open the March socks. So if you recall from previous videos, what I do with the Solo Sock Club is I set aside at the end of the previous year, so around Christmas time, between Christmas and New Year's, I go ahead and I pull 12 yarns out of stash and I pair them with a pattern, and then I tuck them into these little paper bags. They're just paper lunch bags, and I have a basket and I set them aside, and they live in the living room. They have their own spot where they belong. And each month my husband, I have him pick just so it's super random, and I could sit in front of it for an hour and not pull anything just because I have a decision-making disorder. But so he'll pull a random bag for me. So I have not even peeked. I have no idea what we're about to pull out of this bag, but I am excited to get working on it. One thing I did a little different this year is I did actually set 13 bags. So I finished early for 2024, and I sort of figured I'd finish early again. Maybe that's a little presumptuous of me, but the 13th one that I threw in, which who knows what order it might get pulled in, the 13th one is actually a leftover skein. So when my oldest was younger, they wanted some rainbow socks, and I knit them some rainbow socks because of course I did, and it's a self-striping rainbow yarn. And I do think because their feet were small, because they were a little kid, that there's enough for me to do two adult size socks from the remainder of the skein. And my plan is, just because I also thought it would be interesting for a video as well, my plan for that particular one is to do 2 at a time toe-up socks so that I just keep going for whatever yarn there is, and the length I get on the cuff is the length I get on the cuff. And obviously we have to start at the toe to do that because you can't just change the size of your foot, but you can change the size of the cuff on your sock. So that's what we'll be doing with that one. So without further ado, I am going to tear into this bag. I am going to mute the audio while I open the bag because it sometimes can get a little loud. So here we are. Okay, so this is the yarn. This is from the Purple Fleece. They are a local Maine yarn shop that has since closed. So they've been closed for a while. If you remember, a lot of these yarns are very, very deep stash. I have a larger than practical stash, and I've been accumulating yarn for some time. Sometimes, like, you know how it is. You get excited and you see something pretty and you bring it home. And then you plan a project and none of the yarns in your stash are quite right, and you end up just buying yarn for your project. And before you know it, you have a really big yarn stash, and I definitely do. So this is one that, it's called Copperhead is the colorway. And this was from the Purple Fleece. They were in Searsport, I think it was Searsport, Maine. I'll put on the screen if it's different. But they did close a few years back. I think that the owner retired, and I think she's just very well immersed in a different hobby now. And I actually saw her at jury duty, and she seems very happy, and I'm very happy for her, even though I do miss the yarn spin groups that she would host and everything. I do miss that very much. But I'm very happy to see that she is thriving in her new endeavor. So this is 30% bamboo, so I don't know if you could tell, it's got a little bit of shine on it. 60% superwash merino and 10% nylon. And again, the colorway is Copperhead. And the pattern that I have paired it with, so what I do, I just write them on little scraps of paper. But what I picked out is the Poet Socks by Sari Nordland. And it's a gorgeous pattern. I am super excited to knit that up. I did follow Sari's videos around Vlogmas this year, and I had already put together before December. I had gone through Ravelry and kind of browsed a little bit, and some of the patterns that I knew I wanted to do this year in my solo sock club, I did go ahead and tag those so I could come back and find them later. So I tagged those in my favorites. And this was one of the ones that I tagged. So when she did her Vlogmas, and she did, I think it was 24 days of discount. So you get 24% off on the pattern or patterns of the day that she featured for that particular day. But I was really excited when I saw that pattern come up because I had seen it before and had my eye on it, and it was on my list of high likelihood to be in the sock club this year. So I am very excited to take this and cake it up and cast it on. So I do split up on my patterns for the solo sock club. About half of them are vanilla socks and about half are more complicated patterns where I would carry the pattern around and read from it while I'm knitting. And interestingly enough, last year at the beginning of the year, it was almost vanilla sock after vanilla sock after vanilla sock. I want to say maybe 4 out of the first 6 months were vanilla socks. So I worried that it was a little boring. I think I did do some blog posts on it. And then, of course, you get into the end of the year, it was the more involved patterns. And it's sort of the opposite this year because this is the third more involved pattern that we're doing. So we haven't had any vanilla socks yet. And which is fine. So it might work out that I'm able to finish early, or the fall and holiday seasons can tend to be quite busy sometimes. So it's fine with me to, you know, get some of these more involved knits front loaded in the year and take care of them in the spring and the summer. And yeah, so follow along and I'll get this caked up, and then you will start seeing it in my whips and my cast-ons on my normal videos. And of course we'll do a reveal in April to show the finished socks, and also to reveal the April yarn and pattern combination. And don't forget to subscribe so you can see when those videos go up, and if you hit the bell button you'll get a notification when they do go up as well. So thank you for joining me, and we'll see you next time. Happy stitching!